Hi everybody, Jane here. Thank you so much for watching my video today. As you may be able to tell from the title of this video, I wasn't feeling particularly creative, and that's why I asked the question, because I always find it interesting about what do other people do if you're not feeling particularly creative. Now normally I would probably just not do any creating. I'd do something else because I don't sort of feel that I should force being creative, but obviously when you've got a YouTube channel, you do sort of want to keep producing things for people to be able to see to help keep your channel sort of going and being seen. But also, I do find that as soon as I start to do something creative, it helps sort of like build more creativity. Now, I think for this at this point in time, it's just because the time of year, there's so much going on. We've got other things going on in our lives at the moment, which are taking up quite a lot of brain power. And it just left me feeling a little bit like, ugh, with my creativity. But even though I say I wasn't feeling creative, I did still want to do something. And when I feel like that, the main thing I like to do to get myself out of that sort of feeling of lack of creativity, which I don't, to be fair, I don't get that often. I find just usually sitting down and starting is enough for me. But I like to go back to the shapes and the mediums and the colours that I enjoy. And I do have another video on my channel where I did that, and I'll link that at the end of the video so that you can have a look. And you will actually see quite a lot of similarities between the project I did in that video and the one I do in this. Now, I am just starting off with watercolours. Now, these little core watercolors are in this palette, this ceramic palette that I got, that was in my Bowerbird palette that I took out and have now sits on the desk. So it was to hand. I think that's one of the things, taking away any friction from between yourself and the creativity is always really useful. So that's why I do like to have things to hand for me, because then I can just reach for what is there and I know I don't have to spend a lot of time collecting up my supplies. So I'm going with the core watercolours. I love watercolour. I like it as a base. I find it fun medium to work with. And I'm going in to the colours that I enjoy. And that's something I find if I'm not sure what I want to do, I go back to what I know and what I love. And I don't see anything wrong with that. That is what a lot of artists in the past, if you look at people like some of the old masters, they repeated the same sort of paintings over and over again. They studied certain flowers, they studied certain scenes, and they didn't say, oh, well, I've done, a ship, so now I'm going to do something different. They recreated things over and over again. And so that to me is part of the process of creativity. So I've started with my core watercolours and I started with circles, because circles I find are a nice, gentle, easy way to create. And I gridded off my page in my Canson art book just to create a fun sort of page so that when you, because one of the other things I really enjoy is when you lift that tape and you get those borders, and it just makes anything look a bit better than it necessarily was. Because this project today isn't meant to be about perfection. It isn't meant to be about making anything specific. It's literally me getting some mediums and getting them on the page. And sometimes that is all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything else. So I went in with my watercolours, then I added some woodies because they're just great fun to just scribble with, and just scribbled around my circles. And I was thinking, actually, this does look at it a little bit like maybe baubles or Christmas lights, one of those sorts of things. And then I thought I just wanted to do some mark making, so I grabbed a couple of the Arrtx acrylic markers plus a Posca plus a couple of Copic Acreas, and I just went in and played with mark making and wasn't really trying to do, like I say, anything specific. I was just having fun. And as always, I will list in the description box below all of the products that I used today. So quite a simple project today. Let me know in the comments what you do when you're in a bit of a creative slump. How do you get yourself out of it? If you have enjoyed the video, do please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And also don't forget there is that hype button. Doesn't cost anything, but it does help small creators. And as always, a big shout out to my super supporters, my YouTube members. And I will link some information in the description box if that's something you're interested in. And until the next time, bye bye.